In this video, I'll show you how I magnetize the weapons on this Primaris Invader ATV. Hello everyone, this is Jason from Warhammer Gaming, and in this video, I'll be showing how I added magnets to this Primaris Invader ATV. So, unlike the Redemptor Dreadnought I magnetized previously, there are only two weapons that I need to magnetize. Specifically, this turret-mounted weapon that you see on the box, which is the Onslaught Gatling cannon, and then there's also a second weapon called a Melta that can also be mounted on this turret. As with my Dreadnought, the reason that I'm doing this is to give myself more flexibility in constructing my army. Right now, my plan is to primarily use the Melta, but there may be instances where I need to use the Gatling cannon, such as if I'm facing off against a horde-type army that has a large amount of weaker units that are meant to overwhelm you with numbers. Now I want to show you the tools that I'll be using in order to magnetize this model. First off, of course, we'll need magnets. The magnets that I'm using are 3x1mm magnets, which are a little smaller than the ones that I used for the Dreadnought. Next we have this Gorilla Super Glue Gel, which of course I'm going to use to glue the magnets into place. Lastly, to cut off bits and pieces out of the model to fit the magnets on, I'm going to either use these clippers or this hobby knife. Now the clippers, you should have something similar to this, I'm assuming you do, in order to cut out the pieces out of the sprues. The reason that I say I'm going to use either this or the hobby knife is that I'm not really sure which one will give me a cleaner cut or an easier cut, so I'm going to try both and see which is better. Anyways, now that we have our tools, let's get started. So the first thing that we need to do is build the ATV up to a certain point, and it is going to be up to this point here. So most of the ATV is built, and then the Marine is built and put in the back. Okay, and here's the model put together up to that step. So now that this step is completed, the next thing we're going to do is fully assemble the Gatling cannon, the Melta, and then also cut the arms out of the sprues, but don't put them on the Marine just yet. Okay, so here is the Onslaught Gatling cannon assembled, the Melta assembled, and then the left arm and right arm cut out. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is take the arms, and then see this nub right here. We're actually going to cut them using our hobby knife in about halfway down, which matches the height of our 3x1 magnet. So near the beginning of the video, I wasn't sure which would be better to use to cut off plastic nubs. Would it be the knife here, or would it be the clipper here? So I cut off the nub here with the knife, but it took a lot longer than I thought it would, and admittedly I cut myself by accident, so that's not good. So for this nub here, on this arm, we're gonna try the clippers, see if that's better. Okay, so between the knife and the clippers here are definitely better for cutting off those plastic nubs. Another thing to note is that because I make gunpla models, I also have these God hand clippers, and they're a lot sharper, lot more precise than the other clippers that I showed previously, but they're pretty expensive, so I'm not going to use them for magnetizing this model because I don't expect everybody to have something like that. Now we need to glue the magnets onto the nubs. I have here two 3x1mm magnets. Now what I'm going to do is mark the faces facing outside with black marker here. You can use something else if you want. And the faces that are being marked are the ones that are going to be facing down onto the nub. So basically it's the side that's going to be glued. Once the faces are marked, I'm going to use a small drop of this super glue gel in order to glue it into place. Next, we're going to attach magnets to the Onslaught Gatling cannon. To do that, the first thing that we have to do is cut off a piece of this circular section here. Let's see if it's focused. So how deep are we going to cut it? About this deep here. Now we're going to glue on some magnets onto this area here and here where I cut, but we want to make sure that the polarity is correct. To do that, first make sure that everything is facing in the correct direction. So this is the correct direction of the gun, this is the bottom, so this is left and right. Then we're going to take the left and right arms. Next, we're going to attach a couple of magnets to the arms. Now we're going to mark the outside faces of the magnets. The area marked in black here is going to be glued face down against the gun. Then we'll do the same thing to the other side. Now we just want to make sure that the polarities are correct. And it looks okay to me. Now we're going to deal with the multi-Melta, and similar to the Gatling cannon, we're going to be cutting down these nubs here and here. And let's get it to focus first. And we're going to cut it around this point here and this point here. So about a little over a third. For the next step, again, we're going to have to mark which side of the magnets are going to face down and be glued to the gun. As before, we have our right arm here, left arm here, and the gun facing forward here. Okay, and then now we take our magnets here and just attach it to the magnets on the hands. And then we now mark which side we want to glue down. Once marked, we just take our glue and glue the magnets down onto the gun. Once the glue has dried, we just want to test to make sure that the magnets attach correctly. And it looks pretty good to me. Now, for both the Gatling cannon and the Melta, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to shave this bottom nub here. So maybe shave a little bit piece here, at the end here, and maybe even this side here. So, why are we doing this? Well, call me lazy, but when I want to replace the weapons, you'll notice that the way that it is right now, it takes just a little bit of force to put it down. Not a lot, but just a little bit, and then you're gonna have to, jiggle it out again to take the weapon out. Personally, I just wanted to slide in and out as easy as possible. So now we'll see that both weapons are easier to pop in and out. So pretty much the last few things we need to do are attach the arms to the Marine, have them face up like this, grab one of the weapons, put it in place, and then turn the arms down. Then we'll see the weapon looks like it's in place. Now if you want to switch out the weapons, just raise the arms up, take the weapon out, and put the other weapon in, and arms down. So one final thing that you could do, and in my opinion it's completely optional, is magnetizing the shoulders here and here. So again, in my opinion it's not necessary, but it's something that if you want to consider doing, here's how I think you would do it. And again, disclaimer, I haven't done this before, so proceed at your own risk. The first thing that I think you would do is cut this nub on the side completely off, so then the side is totally flat. Next, you're going to need a pin vise drill with a 3mm bit, and then you're going to drill a hole on the side here about 2mm deep. Once you drill the hole into the shoulder here, you'll take two 3x1mm magnets and then glue one to the side here and then one in the hole here. So then once you want to attach the shoulder to the body, it should just slide in. And of course, once that's done, you just have to do the same steps, but for the other arm. Again, I don't think this step is necessary, but it's something to consider. So now that we've finished magnetizing the model, we now have to get the model ready for painting. And to do that, I'm going to prime it with Gray Sear spray paint. And now, we're ready to paint. So, here's my Magnetize Space Marine Invader ATV, and overall, I'm pretty happy with the results. It was easier to magnetize than my Dreadnought, partly because I gained some experience from that project, and also because there were only a couple of weapons to deal with compared to the Dreadnought. That being said, I did encounter some small issues, such as realizing that it was quicker and easier to use clippers than a hobby knife to cut off certain plastic nubs. Now that we're done magnetizing this ATV, as well as putting paint primer on it, the next thing I'll be doing is, of course, painting it, and you'll see me doing that in a future video. Anyways, that's the end of this video, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and be sure to check out my other social media accounts in the description below. Until next time, this is Jason from Warhammer Gaming, signing off.